The skies above New York City darkened as the massive crystalline ship descended through the clouds. People stopped in the streets, looking up with their mouths open. Car horns blared as traffic halted. On the 86th floor of the United Nations building, Lieutenant Alex Mitchell watched through the window, his heart pounding in his chest. "Lieutenant Mitchell, you've been selected for this assignment because of your skills in linguistics and your attention to detail," Commander Diane Porter said, sliding a leather-bound book across the desk. "Starting today, you will document everything about our visitors. Every meeting, every observation, every hunch. Consider this diary classified at the highest level." Alex picked up the diary, running his fingers over the smooth cover. "Yes, Commander, but why paper? We have secure digital systems. Digital can be hacked. Paper can be burned if necessary," she replied with a grim smile. "Our visitors claim to be peaceful, but we're not taking chances. Your background in xenolinguistics makes you ideal for this role." Alex nodded, tucking the diary into his jacket pocket. He had spent years studying theoretical alien language structures, never truly believing he would use this knowledge. Now, an actual alien ship hovered over Manhattan. 3 days later, Alex sat in a specially prepared conference room, making his first diary entry. The pen felt strange in his hand after years of typing. "The Valen ship has been in position for 72 hours, he wrote. "Today marks our first face-to-face contact." Their message was broadcast worldwide in perfect English, requesting diplomatic talks. How they learned our language remains unknown. The door slid open and Alex quickly closed. The diary. 4 humans in suits entered, representatives from major world powers. Behind them came 2 tall figures that made Alex's breath catch. The Valen were humanoid but clearly alien. Their skin shimmered with a pearlescent blue glow, and their eyes were large, with pupils that shifted color like oil on water. They wore simple white garments that seemed to flow like liquid. The taller Valen stepped forward. "I am Princess Zaralith of the Valen Collective," she said, her voice melodic with an accent Alex couldn't place. "We come seeking friendship with Earth." Alex wrote furiously in his diary as the initial meeting progressed. The princes explained they had been observing Earth for decades, learning human languages and customs before making contact. Their civilization was ancient, she claimed, and they wished to establish trade and cultural exchange. When the formal meeting ended, Princess Zaralith approached Alex directly. "You are the one keeping records," she said, her shifting eyes focusing on his diary. Alex stood straighter. "Yes, Your Highness, I'm Lieutenant Alex Mitchell, linguistics specialist. A chronicler of history as it happens," she said, with what appeared to be a smile. "On my world, such roles are highly honored." "May I make a request, Lieutenant?" "Of course. In your writings, include not just what is said, but what you feel. True understanding between our peoples will require emotional honesty, not just diplomatic words." Alex blinked in surprise. "I'll do my best, Your Highness." As she turned to leave, Alex noticed how the other Valen, introduced as her security officer, watched him with unblinking eyes. That night, in his small apartment with the blinds drawn, Alex wrote in his diary by lamplight, "The princess is not what I expected. There's an intensity to her that the others lack. When she speaks, everyone listens, human and Valen alike. Her request that I document my feelings seems strange for a diplomatic mission. Do the Valen place special importance on emotional responses? Or is she simply curious about humans?" He paused, tapping his pen against the page before continuing. "Her eyes changed color when she looked at me directly, from deep purple to something like gold. I wonder if this indicates mood or something physiological. Despite their humanoid appearance, I'm struck by how alien they truly are. Yet I feel no fear in her presence, only fascination." The next morning, Alex was summoned to a private meeting with Princess Zaralith. He arrived at the hotel where the Valen delegation was staying, diary tucked securely in his jacket. Security was tight. Both human and Valen guards lined the hallways. The princess waited in a large suite that had been modified with strange lighting that pulsed gently. She stood near the window, looking out at the city. "Your world is beautiful, Lieutenant. so full of energy and chaos. My world is more ordered. Alex took out his diary, opening to a fresh page. Is that good or bad? She turned, her eyes shifting to a deep blue. Neither, just different. May I see what you write? Alex hesitated. I'm sorry, Your Highness. My orders are to keep these records confidential. Even from the subject of those records? Her lips curved slightly. Very well. I respect your loyalty. Instead, tell me honestly, do your people fear us? Alex considered his answer carefully. Some do. Unknown things often create fear. Others are excited about the possibilities of contact with an advanced civilization. And you, Lieutenant? What do you feel when you look at me? The question caught him off guard. He looked at her alien features, the luminescent skin, the color-shifting eyes, the graceful movements that seemed almost too perfect. Curiosity, he answered truthfully, and hope that we can learn from each other. She stepped closer, and Alex noticed a faint scent like cinnamon and something unfamiliar. Write that down, then, your honest thoughts. I can sense when humans are being diplomatic rather than truthful, you know. Alex's pen paused above the page. You can sense our emotions? Not precisely, but we have abilities that help us understand. Intent. Your species broadcasts your feelings quite loudly, though you don't realize it. This was new information. Nothing about telepathic abilities had been mentioned in their official introduction. Alex made a note, suddenly wondering what else the Valen might be hiding. Don't worry, she said, as if reading his concern. We cannot read your thoughts. Only sense emotional states and only with proximity. It's why we find humans so interesting. You feel everything so strongly. Over the next week, Alex attended every meeting between Valen representatives and Earth officials. His diary filled with observations about Valen technology, cultural references, and apparent social structure. Princess Zaralith always acknowledged him with what seemed like special attention after a particularly tense negotiation about allowing Valen observers into various countries. Alex found himself alone with the princess in the conference room. Your leaders fear we have ulterior motives, she said. Do you? Alex asked, then immediately regretted his boldness. To his surprise, she laughed, a sound like wind chimes. Everyone has ulterior motives, Lieutenant. The question is whether those motives are harmful or beneficial. Alex wrote her words exactly, and added his own observation. Princess Z appears more forthright in private than in official meetings. Still can't read her intentions, but don't sense deception, rather careful revelation of information. She watched him write with obvious interest. I hope one day you'll share your writings with me. I'm curious how humans perceive us. Perhaps someday, Alex replied, closing the diary. When our peoples know each other better. What Alex didn't say, what he would write later in the privacy of his apartment, was how he found himself increasingly drawn to the alien princess, not just professionally but personally. Her intelligence, her careful observations of humanity, and the mystery that surrounded her people fascinated him in ways he hadn't expected, and somewhere in the back of his mind a warning bell sounded. Because no matter how diplomatic the Valen appeared, a civilization advanced enough for interstellar travel wouldn't come to Earth without a very good reason, and that reason might not be one humanity would welcome. 1 month passed since the Valen arrived on Earth. Alex Mitchell's diary grew thicker with each passing day. His handwriting, once neat and orderly, now rushed across the pages as he struggled to capture every detail of the remarkable cultural exchange taking place. Morning light filtered through the blinds as Alex sat at his small kitchen table, writing in his diary before his daily meeting with Princess Zaralith. Day 32 of Valen contact, he wrote. Their ship has become a fixture in our skyline, like it was always meant to be there. Yesterday, Princess Zaralith explained their food synthesis technology that could end world hunger. When I asked why they would share such valuable technology, she simply said, because you need it. Something about her answer feels incomplete. Alex paused, tapping his pen against the page before continuing. I find myself thinking about the princess even when not in meetings. Her intelligence is extraordinary, and the way she speaks about her civilization makes me eager to learn more. But I can't shake the feeling that the Valen aren't telling us everything. An advanced society crossing vast distances of space must have stronger motives than cultural exchange. The phone rang, interrupting his thoughts. It was Commander Porter. Mitchell, there's been a change of plans. The princess has requested a tour of the city with you as her guide. Alone, without her usual security, Alex's heart beat faster. Is that wise, Commander? Probably not, but we've been ordered to accommodate. We'll have undercover agents nearby. Pick her up at 0900, and Mitchell, keep that diary close. At precisely 9 o'clock, Alex stood outside the hotel where the Valen delegation stayed. Princess Zarlith emerged wearing human clothes, jeans, and a simple blue blouse that complemented her pearlescent skin. Without her formal robes, she looked almost human except for her ever-changing eyes. Lieutenant Mitchell, she said with a smile, thank you for agreeing to show me your city. The pleasure is mine, Your Highness, Alex replied, trying to sound professional despite his nervousness. Where would you like to go first? Somewhere ordinary people go, not tourist attractions or government buildings. I want to see how humans live. They spent the morning wandering through neighborhood parks, small coffee shops, and local markets. Alex watched as Zarlith observed everything with intense curiosity, children playing, an old couple holding hands, street musicians performing for tips at a small cafe. They sat by the window with cups of coffee. The princess held hers, not drinking but enjoying the warmth and smell. Your people express so much through small gestures, she said. The woman at the counter touched the man's arm when giving him change. It meant something, Alex nodded. Human. Touch can convey many things: affection, reassurance, attraction. On my world, we rarely touch outside of family units. It's considered intrusive. Yet you seem fascinated by human connections, Alex observed. Making a mental note to add this to his diary later, her eyes shifted to a deep violet. Perhaps I am. Your species forms bonds quickly, feels deeply. It's both your strength and weakness. As they left the cafe, Alex noticed a man in a military uniform watching them from across the street. The man nodded slightly at Alex before turning away. Who was that? Zarlith asked. Just someone from work, Alex replied, surprised by her observation skills. You have many watchers, Lieutenant Mitchell. Both your people and mine. That evening, Alex was introduced to Jack Collins, a military strategist assigned to the Valen situation. They met in a secure room deep within the UN building, away from potential Valen monitoring. You're getting close to the princess, Collins said, his expression serious. That can be valuable, but also dangerous? I'm just doing my job, Alex, replied. Collins leaned forward. That diary of yours, be careful what you write. If it ever fell into the wrong hands, human or Valen, it could compromise everything. Commander Porter ordered me to document everything. Then be smart about how you phrase things, and never leave it unattended. Later that night, Alex added a new entry to his diary. Met with military strategist Jack Collins today. He seemed concerned about my interactions with Princess Z. His warning about the diary suggests increasing tension behind the scenes. The initial excitement of first contact is giving way to strategic positioning. He paused, then added more personal thoughts. The princess continues to fascinate me. Today she wore human clothes and asked about ordinary life. Her interest seemed genuine. When our hands accidentally touched while reaching for a napkin, I felt a strange electric sensation. She pulled back quickly. Was it surprise or something else? Despite Collins' warnings, I believe building trust with her is crucial for successful diplomacy. The next day, Alex was summoned to an unscheduled meeting with the Valen delegation. He arrived at the conference room to find it empty except for Princess Zarlith, who stood near the window. Thank you for coming, Lieutenant, she said without turning. Is everything all right, Your Highness? She turned to face him, her eyes a deep, stormy blue he had never seen before. I need to show you something, but you must promise not to record it in your diary, Alex hesitated. My orders are to document everything. Some knowledge isn't ready to be shared widely. Please, Alex, this is important. It was the first time. She had used his first name. Something in her tone made him nod in agreement. She approached him and raised her hands, stopping just short of touching his temples. May I? He nodded again, not sure what he was agreeing to. The air between them seemed to vibrate. Suddenly, Alex felt a gentle pressure in his mind, like a whisper without words. Images flashed before him, a world with 3 moons, crystal. Cities that seemed to grow from the ground, and a sense of profound sadness. Just as quickly, the connection broke. Alex stumbled backward, catching himself on a chair. What was that? He gasped. A glimpse of my homeworld, she said softly. And a demonstration of abilities we haven't disclosed to your leaders. You're telepathic, Alex said, his mind racing. You can read thoughts? Not exactly. We can share impressions, emotions, and images with those receptive to the connection. But we cannot read human minds without permission and contact. Your species is louder, but also more closed than ours. Alex tried to process this revelation. Why show me this now? Because decisions are being made by both our peoples. Some of my advisors believe humans aren't ready for the full truth of why we're here. I disagree. She stepped closer. I trust you, Alex, more than any other human. That night, despite his promise, Alex wrote in his diary. He couldn't help himself. This was too significant to leave undocumented. The Valen have telepathic abilities they've kept hidden from Earth's leadership. Princess Z demonstrated this to me personally. She can't read minds exactly, but can share thoughts and images through touch. This raises serious security concerns, but also explains their interest in human emotions. He hesitated, then added, She said she trusts me. The feeling is mutual, despite everything. There's something in her eyes, a sincerity that's hard to fake, even for an alien. But the question remains, what is the true purpose of the Valen on Earth, and why does she want me to know the truth when her own people are divided? Alex closed the diary and locked it in the small safe in his apartment. For the first time since this assignment began, he felt caught between loyalty to his mission and his growing connection to Princess Zaralith. The boundary between professional duty and personal feelings was becoming dangerously blurred. 6 months had passed since the Valen arrived on Earth. Alex's diary now filled 3 volumes, each one secured in his apartment safe when not in use. The current volume rested in his inner jacket pocket as he hurried toward the United Nations. Building for a special ceremony. Today marked the signing of the first official alliance between Earth and the Valen. After months of careful negotiations, the major powers had agreed to limited technology exchanges. The Valen would share advancements in medicine and clean energy. In return, Earth would provide cultural artifacts and access to natural resources the aliens found valuable. Alex checked his watch and quickened his pace. As the primary human liaison to Princess Zaralith, he couldn't be late. Their relationship had grown complex over the months. Professional respect had deepened into friendship, and despite his best efforts, Alex couldn't deny his feelings had become something more. The Grand Hall of the UN building had been transformed for the occasion. Flags from all nations hung alongside new banners bearing the spiral symbol of the Valen Collective. Diplomats in formal attire mingled with Valen delegates in their flowing garments. Alex spotted Princess Zaralith immediately. She stood talking with the Secretary of State, her pearlescent skin glowing under the bright lights. When she saw Alex, her eyes shifted to the warm gold color he had come to recognize as pleasure. Lieutenant Mitchell, she greeted him formally, though her eyes conveyed more. I was just explaining the energy conversion technology we will be sharing, the secretary nodded to Alex. Your reports have been invaluable, Lieutenant. The President sends his thanks for your dedicated service. Just doing my job, sir, Alex replied. As the secretary moved away to greet other dignitaries, Zaralith stepped closer to Alex. You look tired, she said quietly. Long nights preparing for today, he admitted. And writing in your diary? There was a teasing note in her voice. I still hope to read it someday, Alex smiled. Maybe when this is all official. It becomes official today, she reminded him. Before he could respond, Commander Porter approached. Mitchell, a word? They stepped aside and Porter lowered her voice. Security picked up chatter about a possible attack on the ceremony. Anti-alien extremist group. Stay alert. Alex nodded, his hand instinctively touching the diary in his pocket. Over the months he had documented not just diplomatic progress, but also growing resistance to the Valen presence. Some religious groups called them demons. Others claimed they were here to conquer Earth slowly through cultural infiltration. The ceremony began with speeches from world leaders. Alex stood near the stage, scanning the crowd for any signs of trouble. Princess Zarla spoke last, her melodic voice carrying through the hall without a microphone, another Valen ability that still amazed humans. Today marks not an end, but a beginning, she said. Our peoples have much to learn from each other. The universe is vast, often hostile, but together we can. The explosion came from the back of the hall. Smoke filled the air as people screamed and ran for exits. Alex rushed toward the stage, reaching for Princess Zaralith as her security. Guards surrounded her. This way, he shouted, guiding them toward a secure exit he knew from his years working in the building. They pushed through panicked crowds, Alex keeping his hand on the princess's arm. 3 Valen guards moved in formation. Around them, their normally calm demeanor replaced by alert efficiency. As they reached a service corridor, Alex heard shouting behind them. He turned to see masked figures pushing through the crowd, weapons raised. Run! He yelled, pulling the princes forward. They raced down the corridor toward the underground parking area. Gunshots echoed behind them. One of the Valen guards fell, a strange blue liquid seeping from his shoulder. They reached an emergency exit, bursting out into the afternoon sunlight. UN security forces had already responded to the attack, and armored vehicles waited nearby. Get in! A security officer shouted, holding open the door of an SUV. Alex helped the princess inside, then climbed in after her. As the vehicle sped away, he noticed something was wrong. His jacket felt lighter. He patted his pocket in panic. The diary was gone. My diary, he gasped. I lost it in the evacuation. Princess Zarlith placed a hand on his arm. Your safety is more important than documents. But Alex knew better. That diary contained 6 months of observations, including Valen weaknesses he had noticed, questions about their true motives, and his own personal feelings for the princess. In the wrong hands, it could damage everything they had worked for. They were taken to a secure government facility outside the city. Reports came in about the attack, a coordinated effort by an extremist group called Earth First. 6 people had been injured, but thankfully no one had died. The ceremony would be rescheduled with tighter security. That night, Alex paced his temporary quarters, unable to sleep. The missing diary haunted him. Had someone taken it, or had it simply fallen during the chaos? Either way, its contents were now vulnerable. His secure phone buzzed with a message from Commander Porter. Diary recovered by UN security. Safe at headquarters, relief washed over him. At least it hadn't fallen into hostile hands. The next morning, Alex was summoned to the Valen ship for an urgent meeting. This was unusual. Typically, all official meetings took place on neutral ground. As the shuttle carried him up to the massive crystalline vessel hovering above the city, his unease grew. The interior of the Valen ship was breathtaking, organic architecture that seemed to flow like water frozen in time. Alex had only been aboard twice before, both times for brief cultural exchanges. Now, he was led deep into the ship, through corridors filled with Valen going about their duties. Many stopped to watch him pass, their color-shifting eyes unreadable. Finally, his guide stopped before a large doorway that spiraled open at their approach. The chamber beyond was vast, with a high ceiling that seemed to reflect the stars themselves. At the far end stood Princess Zara, single quotes LITH. She was not alone. Behind her, in perfect formation, stood hundreds of Valen soldiers, their usual flowing garments replaced by fitted uniforms that shimmered with metallic elements. They stood completely still, like statues, but their eyes followed Alex as he walked forward. The princes did not smile as he approached. Her eyes were a deep purple he had never seen before, and in her hands she held his diary. "Lieutenant Alex Mitchell," she said, her voice formal and cold, "you have documented us extensively." Alex stopped, his heart pounding. "Your Highness, I can explain." She opened the diary to a marked page. "You wrote that we're vulnerable to low-frequency sound waves, that our telepathic abilities can be blocked by certain metals. You questioned our true purpose on Earth repeatedly." She looked up, her eyes now shifting to a stormy gray. "You also wrote that you believe I am hiding something from your leaders." The soldiers behind her remained motionless, their weapons not drawn but clearly visible at their sides. The message was unmistakable. This was not a friendly meeting. "You wrote other things as well," she continued, turning another page. "Personal observations. Feelings that go beyond professional duty." Alex swallowed hard. Everything he had documented, both strategic information and private thoughts, was now exposed. The diary he had kept so carefully had become a potential weapon against both him and Earth. "I need you to explain yourself, Alex," Princess Zaralith said, holding the diary out toward him. "Every word." "Starting now." Alex stared at the diary in Princess Zaralith's hands. His mouth felt dry. The hundreds of Valen soldiers stood perfectly still behind her, waiting. The only sound in the vast chamber was his own breathing. "I was doing my job," he finally said, his voice steadier than he expected. "I was ordered to document everything about the Valen, including potential vulnerabilities. Is that all it was? Just following orders?" The princess stepped closer, her eyes now a deep blue that Alex had come to associate with sadness. "What about this?" She turned to another page. "You wrote that you believe we have a hidden reason for coming to Earth, that our story about cultural exchange cannot be the whole truth." Alex straightened his shoulders. If this was to be a confrontation, he would not cower. "Yes, I wrote that. And I still believe it. No civilization crosses the stars just to share technology and learn about our art. There must be more." For a long moment, Princess Zaralith simply looked at him. Then, to his surprise, she dismissed the soldiers with a wave of her hand. They filed out silently until only her personal guard remained near the door. "You're right," she said quietly. "There is more." She gestured to a small sitting area Alex hadn't noticed before. Two chair-like structures that seemed to grow from the floor itself curved toward each other. She sat in one and placed the diary on a small table between them. "Please sit." Alex hesitated, then sat across from her. The chair adjusted to his body perfectly. "I need to know something first," she said. "These observations about our weaknesses, were they meant to help defend against us? Was Earth planning to use this information?" "No," Alex answered honestly. "It's standard protocol to document any tactical information. But Earth's leaders genuinely want peace with the Valen. The technology exchange was going to be real." She nodded slowly. "And these other notes?" Her finger touched a page where Alex had written about his personal feelings for her. Alex felt his face grow warm. "Those were ... private thoughts?" "Not part of my official report." A small smile touched her lips. "Yet you wrote them in the same diary." "I couldn't help it," he admitted. "Over these months my feelings ... changed." "Princess." Zaralith closed the diary and placed her hands on top of it. "Alex, I'm going to tell you the real reason we came to Earth, but first I must show you something." She touched a control on her wrist, and a holographic display appeared between them. It showed DNA strands, spinning slowly. "This is Valen DNA," she explained. "For thousands of years, our species has been facing a genetic degradation. Each generation becomes weaker, with fewer children born. Our scientists project that within 5 generations, we will become extinct." The display changed to show human DNA. "And this is human DNA, different yet remarkably compatible with ours. Your species is genetically diverse, adaptable, and resilient in ways we once were." Alex stared at the display as understanding dawned. "You came here for our DNA, to save your species." She nodded. "Yes, our scientists believe that by incorporating specific human genetic sequences, we can reverse our degradation." But we needed to study humans first, to understand if our peoples could coexist peacefully. Why not just tell us this from the beginning? Her eyes shifted to a darker color. My advisors feared that if humans knew our desperation, you might exploit it. Or worse, see us as invaders coming to harvest genetic material. Some wanted to simply take what we needed, I argued. For building trust first. Alex leaned back in the chair, trying to process this revelation. And now? What happens now that I know? That depends on you. She opened the diary again. Your writings show someone torn between duty and personal connection. Someone who questions, but also understands. I need to know if you can help us, Alex. Help you how? We need human allies who will advocate for cooperation without revealing our desperation. If Earth's leaders knew we were dying as a species, some might push for greater concessions or technology transfers we cannot provide. Alex thought about Commander Porter, about Jack Collins and other military leaders who would certainly see the Valen's genetic crisis as leverage. Yet he also thought about the princess, about all he had learned of her people over these months. What exactly are you asking me to do? Help us negotiate a new agreement. One that includes limited genetic sampling from willing human volunteers, presented as further scientific cooperation. In exchange, we can offer specific technologies that will advance human medicine far beyond its current state. She reached across and touched his hand gently. I'm asking you to help save my species, Alex, without betraying your own. The touch sent that now familiar electric sensation up his arm. After months of carefully maintaining physical distance, this deliberate contact felt significant. Why me? He asked softly. Because despite your suspicions, you've shown compassion for us, understanding. She tapped the diary. Your words reveal someone who sees beyond differences. Alex stood and walked to the large viewport that showed Earth below, beautiful and blue against the blackness of space. The weight of her request settled on his shoulders. Some would call this treason, he said. Keeping this from my superiors. Others would call it diplomacy, she countered. Finding a path that benefits both worlds without creating fear or advantage. He turned back to her. The attack yesterday, could your people have stopped it? Did you know it was coming? Her eyes flashed a bright silver. We detected unusual energy signatures from certain humans, but didn't understand what they meant. We're still learning to read your species. But I swear to you, we would have prevented it if we could, Alex believed her. Despite everything, he trusted her sincerity, if not her complete honesty. There's something else you should know, she continued. Not all Valen agree with my approach. My military advisor, Krelvan, leads those who believe we should simply take what we need from Earth. They see humans as primitives, not partners. Are they planning something? Not yet, but if peaceful cooperation fails? She didn't finish the sentence. Alex returned to his seat. The diary sat between them, a record of truths, half-truths, and feelings neither had fully acknowledged until now. I'll help you, he said finally, but on my terms. No more secrets between us. And Earth gets something truly valuable in return. Not just token technology, but real advancements that will help our people. Relief washed over her face, her eyes shifting to the warm gold he had come to cherish. Thank you, Alex. Don't thank me yet. Convincing Earth's leaders to agree. Genetic sampling won't be easy, especially without telling them why. We can start with your Commander Porter. She strikes me as practical. Alex nodded, thinking about how to approach this impossible task. As he did, another thought struck him. The diary, how did you get it? I was told UN security recovered. Princess Zarlith's expression became unreadable. One of our agents retrieved it during the chaos. We have people working within your security structures. This revelation should have angered him, but instead Alex felt a strange relief. At least now the truth, or more of it, was on the table. No more infiltration, he said firmly. That stops now if we're going to work together, she nodded. Agreed. As if sealing their pact, she picked up the diary and handed it back to him. I believe this belongs to you. Perhaps the next volume will tell a different story, one of two worlds saving each other. Alex took the diary, their fingers brushing, and the exchange. In that moment, he realized they had crossed a point of no return. Whatever happened next would change both their worlds forever. 2 weeks after their private meeting aboard the Valen ship, Alex sat across from Commander Porter in her office. His diary lay open between them as he finished explaining Princess Zaralith's revelation about the Valen genetic crisis. "Let me get this straight," Porter said, leaning forward. "They came here because they're dying out and they think human DNA can save them?" "Yes, Commander. Their species faces extinction within 5 generations without genetic intervention." Porter's expression remained neutral, but Alex could see her mind working, calculating possibilities and risks. "And the princess shared this with you alone? Not through official channels?" "She fears some Earth leaders would use their vulnerability as leverage, or worse, reject them entirely out of fear." Porter stood and walked to the window. The Valen ship gleamed in the distance, catching the afternoon sun. "She's not wrong. General Hayes has been pushing for more aggressive negotiations since day one," Alex nodded. Samantha Hayes, head of the Joint Military Response Team, had always viewed the Valen with suspicion. "That's why I came to you first. You understand the bigger picture." Porter turned back to him. "What exactly are you proposing, Lieutenant?" "A revised agreement. We present the genetic sampling as a scientific exchange benefiting both species. The Valen provide advanced medical technology in return, not just the basics they've offered so far, but cures for diseases we haven't solved yet. And we keep their extinction crisis secret. It wasn't a question." "For now," Alex confirmed. "Until trust is more established." Porter was quiet for a long moment. "I need to bring Secretary Ward into this. He can approach the president if he agrees." She gave Alex a sharp look. "This walks a fine line between diplomacy and deception, Mitchell." "I know, but I believe it's the right path forward." Porter picked up the diary. "Your detailed observations of the Valen helped convince me. You've documented their behavior consistently, even when it raised questions." She handed it back to him. "Keep writing. We'll need a record of everything that happens next." 3 days later, Alex stood beside Princess Zaralith in a meeting with Secretary General Nathan Ward. The elderly statesman listened carefully as they outlined the proposed genetic exchange program. "This is a significant shift from our previous negotiations," Ward noted. "Why the sudden interest in human genetics?" Alex felt sweat form on his brow, but Princess Zaralith answered smoothly. "Our scientists have discovered unexpected compatibilities between our species. The potential medical benefits for both our peoples are substantial. We believe this represents the next logical step in our alliance." Ward looked to Alex. "And you support this proposal, Lieutenant Mitchell?" "Fully, sir. I've reviewed the Valen research. The potential advances in human medicine alone justify the program." Ward nodded slowly. "I'll present this to the council tomorrow, but I should warn you, General Hayes and her faction will resist. They've been demanding more technology transfers, particularly anything with defensive applications." As they left the meeting, Princess Zaralith touched Alex's arm lightly. "You did well," she said softly, "but I sensed trouble ahead." She was right. The next day, as Alex wrote in his diary about the meeting with Ward, his secure phone buzzed with an emergency alert. He was needed on the Valen ship immediately. When he arrived, he found chaos. Valen moved urgently through the corridors, their normally calm demeanor replaced by visible agitation. Princess Zaralith's personal guard met him at the docking bay. "The princess requests your presence in the command center," the guard said. "There has been an incident." The command center was a vast chamber filled with crystalline displays showing various parts of the ship and Earth below. Princess Zaralith stood at the center, arguing with a tall, imposing Valen male. Alex recognized as Krelvin, her military advisor. "You overstepped your authority," she was saying, her eyes a fierce red Alex had never seen before. "Those orders were not approved." "We cannot wait while humans debate whether to save us," Krelvin responded coldly. I have taken necessary action. She noticed Alex and gestured him forward. Tell him what you've done, she demanded of Krelvan. The military advisor regarded Alex with contempt. I dispatched collection teams to gather human genetic samples. 300 humans have been temporarily detained for processing. You've abducted people? Alex felt sick. They will be returned unharmed. The procedure is minimally invasive. Princess Zaralith's voice shook with anger. You've violated our agreements and my direct orders. This will destroy everything we've worked for. My loyalty is to the survival of our species, not diplomatic niceties, Krelvan replied. He turned to the other Valen in the room. The princess has been compromised by her affection for humans, particularly this one. He pointed at Alex. She would let our people die rather than risk offending primitives. Several Valen officers moved to stand behind Krelvan, others remained by the princess. Alex realized with horror that a coup was unfolding before his eyes. Return. The humans immediately, Princess Zaralith commanded. I think not, Krelvan said. Guards, detain the princess and her human pet. They will be confined until our work is complete. The room erupted in confusion as Valen chose sides. Alex reached for the princess, pulling her behind the console as energy weapons discharged around them. We need to get to the emergency shuttle, she whispered urgently. If Krelvan takes control of the ship, Earth will see it as an attack. They made their way through back corridors, avoiding the fighting that had spread throughout the ship. Alex's mind raced. Everything was falling apart. My diary, he said suddenly. It has information about Valen weaknesses, including your sensitivity to certain sound frequencies. The princess looked at him sharply. You think we can use that against Krelvan? If we can reach Earth's defense systems, yes. Commander, Porter can help us. They reached the shuttle bay and boarded a small craft. Princess Zaralith's hands flew over the controls, and they detached from the mothership just as alarms began to sound as they descended toward Earth. Alex used the shuttle's communication system to contact Porter. He explained the situation. Rapidly, including Krelvan's abduction of humans and the coup attempt. We need to disable their systems without destroying the ship, he concluded. There are loyal Valen fighting against Krelvan. Based on your diary notes, we've already been developing countermeasures, Porter replied. Get to headquarters immediately. When they landed, they found Porter waiting with a team that included General Hayes. The general's expression was grim. Your alien friends have declared war on Earth, Lieutenant, she said coldly. No, Princess Zaralith stepped forward. One faction has betrayed both our peoples. Help us stop them, and I promise full transparency going forward. Everything about why we came here, what we need, and what we can offer in return. General Hayes looked skeptical, but Porter intervened. We have the sound-based disruption system ready. It should disable their weapons and telepathic abilities temporarily. Long enough for loyal Valen to regain control, the princess confirmed as. Technicians prepared the system. Alex pulled out his diary and turned to the pages where he had documented Valen physiology. These frequencies should work. I noticed how they reacted to certain sounds during the cultural exchanges. Within an hour, Earth's defense systems transmitted the specific frequencies toward the Valen ship. On monitors, they watched as systems throughout the vessel temporarily failed. Princess Zaralith used the opportunity to contact her loyal forces, coordinating their response. By nightfall, the coup had been suppressed. Krelvan and his supporters were contained, and the abducted humans were being returned safely to Earth. In the aftermath, Princess Zaralith addressed the United Nations Security Council directly, revealing the full truth about the Valen genetic crisis. As Alex watched from the sidelines, he felt both pride and relief as she spoke with honesty and humility. We came seeking salvation, she concluded, but we now understand that true cooperation must be built on complete truth. We ask for your help not as desperate supplicants, but as potential allies who can offer much in return. To Alex's surprise, it was General Hayes who spoke first. Your honesty now is appreciated, if overdue. Earth will consider your request with the seriousness it deserves. 1 month later, Alex sat on a bench in Central Park, writing in a new diary. The old ones were now part of the official record of human-Valen relations. This one was just for him. Princess Zaralith, dressed in simple human clothes, sat beside him. Earth and the Valen had reached a new agreement, voluntary genetic donations from humans in exchange for medical technology that would save millions of lives. The first trials were already showing promise for the Valen genetic restoration. "What are you writing today?" she asked, watching his pen move across the page. Alex smiled. The beginning of a new story. One where two different species found a way to save each other. She leaned against his shoulder lightly, her eyes the warm gold of happiness. "The best stories are the ones written together," she said. Alex closed the diary. Some moments were too precious to capture in words. Some were simply meant to be lived.